Wow, well, I just realized I've been yakking this whole time and my mic was muted. So we're going to start over and I'll clip this at the very beginning. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to a new episode of Din Transmissions, episode 16. Everything's good minus the little hiccup that we just had, but I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be screaming into the void that is YouTube and the internet about the fandom that I love, and I'm glad that you guys are here with me. Today we're going to be talking about Skeleton Crew episode 3, but before we get into that, I have to say I'm really enjoying Skeleton Crew a lot more than I thought I would, and I think this is pretty much what Star Wars needs right now. Is I think it needs this win of just a solid show. You know, I was a little skeptical going in. Not that I was like, oh, I'm gonna hate Skeleton Crew and it's gonna be bad, but you know, it's a small story in a very large universe that is Star Wars, and there wasn't really, there wasn't really any Jedi, Sith, Mandalorians, and anything bigger. It was a small scale. It was about a tale about a whole bunch of kids getting into some shenanigans, and then there's pirates and treasure and stuff like that. But I'm really enjoying it. It's taken me back to the prequel era of, or not, sorry, not prequel, the original trilogy era of Star Wars, where it's just like this really fun adventure, and it starts off, in the original trilogy, it's Luke and Han and Leia, and this one you have the kids and Jude Law, but it's really taken off and forming something of its own. I really think this is kind of what Star Wars needed, even though it is a smaller scale project. And what's going on, Charlie? Appreciate rewatch as I get home on the road right now. Well, hey man, drive safe. Appreciate you popping in and saying hello. And yeah, but I'm really enjoying Skeleton Crew a lot more than I thought I would. But yeah, I'm gonna switch over to the smaller screen. I got some screenshots of not gonna be a super long episode this one because there wasn't a crazy lot of information, but just some things I thought were cool and some stuff that I wanted to talk about with you guys on the live. So let me switch over and we're gonna flip to the smaller screen. There we go. There we go. Okay, so the first scene that we kind of get is Port Borgo, and you see like the port with all the supplies. And the reason why I picked this shot is because, one, I think it's cool to see like the hover platform that's underneath it, because it's like built into an asteroid. So I thought that was kind of cool, and I also like that the prison is underneath kind of the asteroid at the bottom level, which to me makes total sense. But I don't know, I just thought it was a really cool kind of like a seaport. Hey, what's going on, Percy? Appreciate you coming in here. Yeah, we had a little hiccup at the beginning of a muted mic, but I'm glad I caught it before before we got too far into it. Appreciate you popping in though. But yeah, I don't know. This the Port Borgo in general is super cool. I like the idea of like the pirates having this, like, it's like an island like what an island would be in like the real world, like the asteroid field. I feel like that's very, similar. And then like the space is the sea, and very reminiscent of like old school pirate stuff. So I don't know. I just thought it was cool. There we go. And then I want to talk about, this is probably the biggest discussion point of tonight, is Jude Law an actual Jedi? And there's a scene in this particularly where he was like, "Oh, he's a Jedi. He used the Force to like grab the keys. Like, how else would he do that?" And she goes, "Magnets, this, that, string," and like he's like, name the ways that he could do that, and she just didn't hesitate. I really love the chemistry that all the kids have back and forth. It does remind me, even though like I never had to deal with any of these situations as a kid, obviously. Some of the interactions, of like a middle schooler or high schooler or even like elementary school, I think they're really nailing that kind of dynamic. Hey, Sarah popping in the chat. What's going on? Appreciate you. Appreciate you coming in and saying hello there. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still kind of on the fence of whether he's a Jedi. He says at the end, I mean, spoilers, but this whole thing is spoilers. We're reviewing episode 3, so if you haven't seen it yet, what are you doing here? But he talks kind of like it, he says specific Jedi things like the Force surrounds all of us and it's within all of us. But you can also kind of feel like sometimes when he's talking about some particular scenarios, like he's putting on like a facade to, like when they want to go rescue the droid, he kind of gets mad for a second and then he like restrains himself and it's like, oh, well, Jedi actually don't do this. So I think it'll be interesting to see whether he's a Jedi, because I think that would be cool if he was like a kind of almost like a Ventress style character of maybe, his Force like not atonement, acuity is he has some of it. Like he can do like switch off lights, like cause distractions, like he distracts those guards a little further down the line. But sometimes he misses stuff, like the droid coming by, that KB, or no, is it KD or KB? I can't remember. The chick with the Cyclops scanner, she senses the droid, but he doesn't, so there's little things that he could be a Padawan, maybe Order 66 happens, he was a Padawan, managed to escape, so he has like minor Force abilities and understands a little bit, but he was never really a full-fledged Jedi, and that's why he says like, oh, I never really said I was a Jedi, like at the end when they're like interrogating him before they get on the ship. But let me as I'm ranting, let me pop back in here. I see some Sarah popping in the chat with some messages. Yeah, I'm on the fence too about him being a Jedi. Yes, right. Like I feel like he could be, but I feel like, especially with like all those references that she pulled of like how he could do like kind of like sleight of hand type of tricks, I feel like we've only really seen him. We saw him grab the keys. We saw him flick off the light, and we saw him distract the guards with a little like noise, or something like that. Which the middle one with the guards, that's the hardest one to do. The other ones I could see him like being able to do like some sleight of hand thing. But I think the other thing is like maybe he's not a Jedi, but just a Force sensitive individual who figured out somehow how to use the Force, and he has very like minor like abilities. Like he's a Force sensitive, but he would be like maybe like one step below a Padawan, or not a Padawan, but like a learner, when in episode 2 when Yoda's teaching, when they have like the visor down with all the kids, like maybe he's on that level of like Force ability, so he could, I guess, technically not be a Jedi but still be like a Force sensitive. Not like a bad thing, but I'm like, is this dude lying? Yeah, I know, right? Because what's making me think that he is kind of like not telling the whole truth. Maybe he's not lying, but like it seems like sometimes he puts on this facade like, oh, a Jedi does not speak like that, or like his like little mannerisms and his like voice tone change of when he's trying to be like not suave, but like I guess like enlightened or like Jedi-esque. Like it seems like he's putting on kind of a show, which makes me think like he either is like he was a Padawan and he saw some stuff go down, but like wasn't a full-fledged Jedi, or maybe he interacted with some in his time being a pirate. Who knows? But and then you said, like, obviously he is, but it's just interesting to kind of throw us off because we don't know who he truly is. Yeah, and that's another thing we don't know. So we have his name is I wrote his name down, Jod Na Nawud, and so we have that. He's definitely Captain Silvo, and then he has man, I didn't write that one down, Crimson Jack or something like that. So he has like three different names, and maybe he has like different aliases or something like that. I don't know, but it is interesting to see, and I'm interested to see going forward what we learn, because I think the kids are going to poke at him more. So we'll find out more of his backstory and stuff like that, and what happened. If he is a Jedi, I think that's cool. I really liked Ventress' arc of how she became a bounty hunter and kind of put the life of being a Sith. She went back to being a Night Sister to being a bounty hunter, and kind of put all that stuff behind her. And he could kind of be the same way, as like maybe he was escaping Order 66 with his Jedi master, and somehow he ran into some pirates and then went to the life of pirating or something like that. That could be cool. Or he could just be some like scrum rat off the street who happened to figure out how to use the Force, and then like worked his way up into like almost like like Aladdin, how he's like stealing bread and stealing food, and then he gets caught and all that stuff. Very much like that, and he just becomes a life of pirating instead of being like a Jedi or a Force wielder. This is also interesting. So it's weird to me seeing Jawas outside of Tatooine. I don't know if I'm the only one in this kind of regards. Like, it makes sense. I know in the latest thing that I've seen is Star Wars Outlaws, and some of the other areas, like there are Jawas and they gamble and they move around. But I don't know. Jawas to me always seem like they're like native to Tatooine, and maybe they are. And that's where like their clan derives from. It does make sense. Like pirates need like scraps and things to salvage, and honestly probably to sell to the Jawas, now that I'm thinking about it, because they probably capture ships and need them. Like you see like in I would say like in like thug movies or like Grand Theft Auto, you see like people stealing cars and then they scrap the cars down and sell the parts. Like the Jawas would be that middle person to either scrap it, or the pirates scrap it themselves and then give the parts sell the parts to the Jawas. I don't know. I just always find it weird seeing them like outside of their element. I always feel like we see them on Tatooine so much, and it was strange. So I took a picture of that one too. But and then this one's also quick. I just love the design of Port Bo. I want to say every time Port Bogo. It's Borgo, I know, but very like Blade Runner shanty town. Like they just really nailed this aesthetic, and I think a lot of this is on the volume. So you see, basically to where that little circle thing is. I don't know if you guys can see my mouse. I don't know if I have that display, but there's this little circle thing kind of in the middle of the screen, like across a right side of the giant net, and I want to say that's where the volume stops, and then this is all the screen behind it, because I think they shot this on volume, but you can't even tell, man. And I just really it really looks gritty and grimy, and yeah, I just loved the design, loved the creatures, the pirates. They nailed this aesthetic to a T. And the next one is Neil, man. Neil has been cracking. I mean, all the kids have been cracking me up, but Neil has been cracking me. So Jude Law's character sets the gun down, and Neil like picks it up, like how I imagine like a kid seeing a gun, because he's probably never seen a gun before, or if he has, he's never held one, and then like instantly sets it down. Like, look at his facial expression, like his eyes. He's like, oh crap, and he goes like this and like tries to put his hands down. He's like, oh my goodness, like I shouldn't be playing with this. And there's another scene like right after this where two like pirates are like beating the crap out of each other, and he like stops following everybody and just like watches the pirates. And Jude Law's character's like, come on, man, come on, we gotta go, and the kids don't give a crap. It's just very they're nailing how little kids, I didn't think that as a reference, I didn't think that in Kenobi, as much as I loved like Leia and that the girl that played Leia, because I think she did a fantastic job, I don't know, I feel like she didn't really act how like little kids should act as well. Like, I don't know, it just didn't translate well to me. Whereas in this show, it really feels, and maybe it's because like the kids can bounce off of each other, and there's more than like one. It's not just like a kid and an adult. It's like four kids and an adult, you know. So or five kids. We got Neil. I'm blanking on the other. You got the two girls, and then we got the other. So yeah, four. Okay, yeah. I'm so bad with names, especially in this show, because there's so many names to keep track of. But I don't know. I feel like they're nailing like the little kid dynamic down very well. It really feels like they're young, they're inexperienced, but they're curious about the world and everything that's going on in it. But yeah, I don't know, his expression, like, look how big his eyes get when he realizes, oh, I probably shouldn't be playing with this, and sets the gun back down. You said, I agree about the Leia's actress. These kids are really bouncing off of each other well, and it feels natural. Yeah, see, like I said, I don't think that the Leia actress did bad acting job. I just think like maybe the way that she was directed, just didn't feel. I don't know. I feel like if they would have, and I don't even like have an example of how you would fix that scenario, but her like running around that little market, and like Obi-Wan like kind of like dun 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 dun, dun like chasing her like a goofball. Then same with the other, like the bandits like chasing her, and they're being all like, it just didn't feel real, and I think that they nailed that in this kind of aspect. Hey, the Stanleys, what's going on, man? Appreciate you stopping in. Leia was raised as a nobility. These kids are more normal working class. Yeah, that is true too. But I still feel like Leia's more nobility, but she was also like escaping and like going and watching the pilots take off into outer space, and she always has her own personality, which I think that they could have like done a little, especially seeing these kids, which I get, like, yes, they are like more of a working class. That's totally a fair observation, where she's a little bit more prim and proper, but still has that rebelliousness. I don't know. I feel like they could have maybe written it a little bit better or something like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just tripping on that, but not that I even have a complaint. Like I said, complaint with it. Like I wasn't a huge fan of Kenobi, but Leia wasn't my problem with Kenobi at all. It was just that I just don't think it was written well. But that's another topic for another time. We're here to talk about Skeleton Crew. I'm ranting. I digress. You get me all nerdy and getting my fandom brain working, so I'm going to go on rants. But Sarah says, I love Neil. He's so adorable and my favorite out of all of them. Yeah, I should have known at the start of this that Neil was going to be like another type of like Baby Yoda type character, especially like his like little brothers and sisters, because like after seeing the first two episodes and like the next week, I feel like I didn't see anything about Skeleton Crew other than seeing like Neil and people like obsessing over him, which, like, hey, and they're all right. He's very cute, very funny and innocent, and I guarantee you he's probably going to get into some shenanigans like later on down the line in the show, so I could totally see that. Seriously, yeah, Kenobi is another rabbit hole. Yeah, Kenobi, Boba Fett, all those are I could talk about those forever. Not in the best light, but yeah, I could definitely rant on those. But so this one was, man, I don't know why. I didn't think the scene was going to have so much of an effect on me, especially because like 2 seconds before that droid that's like laying down in the background, dude, his voice cracked me up. I don't know. Not the one that's like standing up was like, I gotta go rescue the prince. Let me go. We're going this way. But the one before that, his voice, I don't know who that voice actor is, but it sounds familiar, and it cracked me up. But I went from laughing to be like, oh, when I saw the battle droid, because he goes, did we win? And then falls apart. I'm like, dang, man. Because as far as we know, we might be getting more Clone Wars stuff, especially like in Ahsoka, maybe with some flashbacks and stuff like that. But as far as we know as of right now, the Clone Wars is done. Like, Bad Batch was like, unless I'm forgetting something, Bad Batch was like the last Clone Wars and Clone Trooper era type of thing. Hopefully I'm wrong and we get more Clone Wars stuff, because I think there's so much that you can still unpack with that era of Star Wars. But I don't know, something about like the droid falling apart and was like, did we win? It had the same effect on me as like going back to Kenobi, seeing like Tamora Morrison and the 501st Armor like lifting up his helmet and being like, spare some credits for a veteran, you know. I don't know. It just, I don't know. It hit me in the feels a little bit when I was just like, it was funny, but I was like, oh man, I was like, the Clone Wars is probably done, and there's a possibility that we may not get any more Clone Wars stuff going forward. But Visions season 3 to look forward to at least. What? Vision season 3? Are you talking about moving forward after this? I am confusion. I thought the Did We Win was a little twofold Clone Wars for sure, but also the B1 battle droid used in the fight of in Gladiators. Yeah, I mean, like, we could totally see some more Clone Wars stuff for sure, and I hope we do too, because I think they could again do it, and I still think they should do a Clone Wars like mini series. Seeing Hayden Christensen and Ahsoka. And this is all I'll talk about with the Clone Wars, and then we'll move on from there. But seeing Hayden Christensen like and his armor, with the deep fake, and I'm blanking on the chick that played like mini Ahsoka, but man, get Hayden, get Ewan, de-age him. I can suspend disbelief for a little bit and make like an 8-episode series of something that happens in the Clone Wars. Man, like I would love that, and fans would eat it up, and I hope it happens. I don't think it's going to, unfortunately, but I would love seeing that, and more than just like because we could get that in like a flashback, but who knows. But yeah, we could definitely get some Clone Wars, maybe in like more books, video games for sure. There's so many video games you could do, but and also animation. But yeah, it'd be cool to see them. Like, I know a lot of the droids were, especially they said that in Bad Batch, they were scrapped to make like the Star Destroyers and the Death Star parts. Like a lot of them were salvaged, but it is cool when they pop up here and there. Sarah says, yeah, after Skeleton Crew and everything, my bad, didn't mean to throw you off. Oh no, you're good. Yeah, no, we have there's definitely more Star Wars stuff coming down the line. I just don't know if there's going to be any more Clone Wars stuff, is what I meant to say. But yeah, we have Andor, Visions. Probably, if I had to guess, they're going to release another animated, a couple. I would say a couple. There's probably going to be another Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Empire, something along that, like mini series, and they'll probably announce another animation next year. Maybe at Celebration, maybe before then. Who knows? But yeah, we're definitely getting some more animated stuff for sure. Because there's not, besides the Visions, there's not much else announced, and I know animation's one of their heavy hitters. So I would love more Clone Wars stuff, but we shall see. Yeah, I think we're all kind of in the same boat. A lot of the prequel era fans and clone fans, that we want it, man. We want it. So I hope so. But yeah, I don't know. This scene really pulled on my heartstrings. Just because I have such a love for that part of the Star Wars lore and world. But this one was cool, and this actually was from, I didn't catch this. My buddy Nick, he said I don't know if he remember if he caught it or if he saw it somewhere, but this pirate guy, and I guess he's like the scrapper of like the pirate area, he is actually voiced by Alfred. Man, I'm gonna bomb his last name. Molana, which is Doc Ock from Spider-Man. I mean, he's an amazing actor. He's in a crap ton of stuff, but I didn't catch it right off the bat, but it was kind of cool to see that he was, now that I know, and I went back and watched it because I was grabbing all the screenshots, you can definitely hear his voice, but it was a cool thing. We can see it in the credits right here. Benhar Pranik, I think is how you say the name. I'm awful at spelling names too, but saying names. But yeah, it was a cool little nod to him, and just being a voice, because I don't think he was like actually in the suit. I mean, that would be cool if he was on the suit, but I don't think he was in the suit. I think it was just the voiceover for it. But I like the pirate banter. He's like, "Oh, you old like scallywag, you old blood." They're like arguing back and forth and stuff like that. Is really cool, and really cool seeing the species too, because I don't think we see a lot of them. Ishi Tib, I want to say, is the name of the species. not him, but another one in like the very first episodes gets shot in the eye like right off the bat. I think I talked about it in the. I don't think I know I talked about it in the last episode. So yeah, it was just it's cool seeing more species and more characters in it. Get a picture of Diego Luna for me. I'm so jealous he's gonna be there. Oh yeah, it's Star Wars Celebration. Yeah, that's gonna be cool. Yeah, Diego Luna just got announced. A lot of cool stuff. We got Tim, Doug Chang. I know he's gonna be there signing autographs. Like, we got a lot of heavy hitters, and I'm sure a lot more going forward. Doc Ock from Spider-Man 2, baby. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Right there, in the flesh. Or not in the flesh, just in the voice acting, but, you know. And then, man, this scene right here, to me, screamed Han Solo so much of this, like, they're trying to escape, they can't, because they're, like, locked on to, like, the winch or whatever, and they're like, oh, is, like, hyperspace dangerous? Like, doing it when you're, like, tied to something? And it was the same thing, I think it was actually in the sequel trilogy, when they're like, oh, have you ever made like a hyperspace jump from like inside the hangar? And he's like, I don't ever ask that question until after I do it. It gave me very like Han Solo vibes. And I just love the dynamic between like the kids, and they're all screaming as they like jump into hyperspace. It was just a cool little maneuver, and definitely something that Han would do for sure. And then also too, that freaking whiplash, like I would hate to be on the receiving end of it. It like almost like slices the dock in half. Could you imagine getting like whipped by? I mean, that would be instant death. Like if you got hit by that, you're done. Like literally hyperspace whip was essentially what they created there, and it just like freaking decimated the landing pad. Never tell me the odds. Fun fact: that's actually one of my favorite Star Wars quotes. If I had to pick one, "Never tell me the odds" is definitely up there. There's a couple Qui-Gon ones that are up there too, but yeah, that is Max fun fact for you guys. And then I love the interaction that these two have. It is so freaking funny. Like, there's like Jude Law is like acting all like smug and stuff like that, and being like, hey, you should clean up around here. He's like, clean up my plate, clean up the the skeletons around here. He's like, you don't give me orders. And they kind of like square up to each other, and Shmi just freaking like elevates himself. Like they have like such a little petty like back and forth, and then he like pokes his finger like into his chest, and like for the rest of the time Jude Law's just like, he's like looking at it like underneath his shirt and stuff like that to make sure like nothing happened. And then they're asking, he's asking, oh, are these kids like really from Atten? He's like, I don't know for certain, but they're definitely from somewhere. And then he walks away. And then, like, literally the next scene, you just hear him go, zoop, and he, like, peeks around the corner, and he goes, and then he, like, pulls back. I don't know why. I don't know if that was supposed to be funny, but I was freaking dying. Just, like, coming out of the shadows, pause for a second, and then goes back in. I don't know. That just, I don't know. It tickled me for some reason. I thought it was really funny as he's, like, scavenging this whole place, trying to find like what's going on with all these pirates and stuff like that. And then this character, man, I thought this show, and I'm probably going to be saying this every episode and screaming it from the mountaintops, I love that they're doing more. Now this character is definitely CGI'd. They probably have also like some puppetry too, like, but when it's flying around it's definitely CGI'd. But I love that they're going more back to the original like puppeteering and like a lot of prosthetics and just I think a lot of people, and even George Lucas, which I never thought I would kind of say this, but I actually disagree with George Lucas. He said that that's not really a part of Star Wars. He just used like the puppeteering and all the animatronics and stuff like that because he didn't have CGI at the time. But I don't know, man, whether he wanted that to be the case or not. I feel like the practicality is something that's like so close with Star Wars, and it makes Star Wars feel more real. And I think they're coming around on that. We got a little bit more with like the Mandalorian and even the Acolyte and stuff like that. There's a lot of like more practicalness than just like straight up using CGI for everything. I don't know. It just makes, to me, it makes me feel like, even though I know it's just like a puppet or an animatronic, it makes me feel more attached to the world, and it makes me suspend disbelief, even though I know it is like an animatronic. Like every time I see Brutus, which is like the wolf captain, who's like supposed to be like Blackbeard, I know that that's just a dude in a like an animatronic mask that's moving, but it feels to me real. It feels real, and like maybe that's just me suspending disbelief and loving Star Wars, but I don't know. For me personally, that's, I can't speak for anybody else, but that is a huge part of Star Wars, and I'm so glad that they're bringing this back. I mean, it never really went away, even in the sequel trilogy with how, or not sequel, the prequel trilogy, with how much CGI that they still had they still built like the Boonta Eve pod racing scene. They still built Camino and like the Mustafar set with the lava and stuff like that. They still built a lot of the practice. I think they even built Utapau, if I remember correctly. They built like a miniature to like shoot on it. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure I remember seeing something like that. And I'm home now. Ow, hoo hoo. What's going on, Charlie? Appreciate you popping back in. I hope you had a safe ride home, hanging out. But yeah, Kim, I believe, was the name of this species, and she's an astronomer. She's got the whole, like, you know what this made me think of, and I didn't grab a picture of it, but I think it would have been, it's a cool reference, is I know it's different because she's not like a librarian, she's an astronomer. But for those who have seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, when they go, they're trying to find out when like the solstice is for the firebenders, and they go into the desert and they find that library in the sand. It kind of gave me those vibes, maybe because they're both owls, who are just like going and grabbing knowledge somewhere and dropping it at your feet and things like that. But I don't know, it gives me that kind of vibes, even though she's way less creepy than the owl that's an Avatar. But yeah, I don't know. I love I don't know what species this is. I tried to look it up, but it didn't really have much information, because I'm pretty sure this is the first thing. This was a species created for this show. Like, this isn't in anything else. Maybe you guys know, Charlie, Stanley, Sarah, maybe one of you guys know, but I'm not sure if we've seen this, because I know we have like the Morai, but that's like an actual owl. That is not like a sentient being, whereas like this is a sentient being. Sarah says she reminds me of the Professor McGonagall in Harry Potter. She was the teaching in the yeah. I could see that. Gives me those type of vibes for sure. And then, man, I am loving that they're bringing in Old Republic. I think Star Wars fans have been screaming from the mountaintops that we need Old Republic stuff, and I love that they're kind of sprinkling this in. And I thought that this was interesting. I don't know a whole bunch. Like, my Old Republic knowledge is like basically the games, because I'm a big gamer. You guys know that. But I haven't read any of the books yet, and my knowledge, or the comics or anything like that. So my knowledge is very. But they said that there were jewels of the Old Republic, and I don't know if they mean jewels as in the sense of the planet is the jewel, or if there's actually like riches on each one of those planets and they were all destroyed besides Aten. To me, it didn't seem very clear. Now that I'm looking at this, I probably should have seen if I could have deciphered some of this like writing on the sides surrounding the circle to see if it said anything. I don't really speak Arabic very well or anything like that, or can read it very well. But yeah, I did think that was interesting, and also that there's one that's in the middle, and I'm wondering if the one in the middle is at Aten or not. But yeah, very cool that we're getting. I feel like we're slowly trickling Old Republic stuff. I know the sequel trilogy did it because I think some of the commanding fleets on Exegol were named after a lot of like the Sith, the ancient Sith, and I believe some of the statues when Kylo Ren goes down and like sees Palpatine for like the first time. I think some of those statues were also like Old Republic Sith characters. I don't know. I don't really do a whole bunch of research on the sequel trilogy. I could be completely wrong on that. I just remember either seeing a post about that or something. But let me pop back into the chat because you guys are blowing it up. 16 degrees outside. Oof. Oh, I'm not a cold weather person. That sucks. I'm sorry, Charlie. 16 degrees is not fun. The fact that they mentioned the Old Republic, I nearly lost it and almost fell out of my couch. Yeah, I know, right? I feel like as fans, we've been screaming for like since George Lucas owned Star Wars that we wanted some type of like Old Republic either show or movie. I still, I'm done with Disney, like the Disney era Star Wars show. Or not done, but like I don't really want a whole bunch of Disney era Star Wars shows unless it's like animation, Visions, some sort of Tales of the Jedi or something like that. And maybe like one show like this or something like that. That's fine. I kind of want it to go back to movies. That being said, I do think the Old Republic, there's a lot to unpack there. And I don't think that they would do it, but I would love a Game of Thrones style show about the Old Republic that goes on for 6 or 7 seasons. There's multiple characters, people die off. It's like it follows multiple things. Like I think there's so much to unpack there. There's so much knowledge that you could create, and so much knowledge that has been lost. They talk about that in Plagueis and a lot of stuff that like the Old Republic. There was so much information that had lost because it was basically like the Wild West of Star Wars, and that's what I kind of refer to it as, because it just seems like everybody, especially on the Sith side, everybody was killing each other to stay in power. The Republic was scattered everywhere, and like they had to fight against them, like the Mandalorians. They had to fight against Sith, and the Sith were gone. Like it was just pure and like absolute chaos, and I think a show could capture that extremely well. Charlie, speaking my language with the Old Republic, that's what I'm saying, man. First we got the credits, then we got the maps. It's cool that this Kim has all the like, knowledge, and too you can tell that she's been gathering this stuff for centuries and looking. I like that she was like, oh, I have stuff from 1,000 planets, and then one of the kids goes, there's 1,000 planets. She's like, there's more than that. It seems like they have like it's kind of like a maybe not as wise as Master Yoda, but like it gives me the illusion that she's been around for a while, like a Maz Kanata, or Kanata, not Katana, type of character that like they've seen a lot of stuff go down. Sarah says, I'm slowly learning Arish. Pretty sure I just butchered how to spell it. Erubesh? Bro, you're asking a dyslexic if you spelled something wrong? I'm not that guy, pal. I'm not that guy. Revan Malik, Emperor Valkyrie, killed all the jewels. They never stood a chance. Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Is like that could be like a. Well, I don't know if I would want the show to center like a Old Republic show to center around them. Like, I mean, destroying planets is as much as it sucks. It is cool in premise, but I think there's a lot to unpack with the Old Republic for sure. I mean, the Jedi had the Red Wedding and Operation Nightfall. True, Charlie. That is very true. But I think I don't know. There's just so much between like the Sith operating in the shadows after Bane, because Bane just wipes out everybody, and so they could show like that aspect of it. You can show like the Mandalorians fighting the Jedi in like a full scale war where like the Jedi had armor and they had to protect themselves, and like they were all like armored up, and the Mandalorians had to use every trick underneath the book. Yeah, I think it'd be sick. I think it would sell. Or heck, again, make it a video game, because we don't have enough video games in the Star Wars world. So, at least not a lot of good ones as of late that have come out. But that's another topic for another time. And then I like that when they bring stuff in. They brought in the droid, the B1 battle droid. They talk about the Old Republic, and then here, while she's like crunching the numbers, or finding the constellation, whatever the owl's doing, they're talking about like, oh, like what do you learn on your planet? And they were talking about like Coruscant and Alderaan. And she's like, oh, did you miss the war? And they're like, what war? I like that they're so closed off that they don't even know what's going on. And that's the thing that I think that Star Wars needs, is it's more stuff like this, where it's just like they're doing, and I think that's what Dave Filoni's doing with like going to like Ahsoka and Sabine, while they're off in that other world. Like Thrawn doesn't really know what's happening and stuff like that. Like there's like time where they're like, oh, I have no idea what's going on, and I don't know. There's something there with that I don't know. I really like that kind of dynamic of like they're just like oblivious to because they've been in their lane and not at and kind of like it's can't go past the barrier and you so which that's another thing too because they at the beginning I failed to mention that the parents are talking and like freaking out about like the council and stuff like that not wanting to go and they're like, oh, have you contacted the Republic? So is Atten contact with the Republic? Like how do they know? Well, I guess the Republic's been around forever because I just answered my own question because I was going to say, how do they even know about the Republic, like outside because they don't have any outside influence? Maybe they still think everything's hacked. They don't really know about the Empire or anything like that, but the Republic has stood for thousands of years, so maybe that's how they know it. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a cool little nod. And then this is the last, I think, yeah, because the next one's, yeah, just my thumbnail. This one's the last one. I think they really nailed, like, the kid aspect of the show. That both of the kids, like, pop up, and one of them instantly starts firing. He's, like, spinning his turret around. Like, you can just see the joy on his face. And then one of them, like, accidentally, like, nick the X-Wing. And they're like, oh, I shot him. I'm like, dang. They're like so happy that they got a hit, but like they're shooting at like the good guys and stuff like that. I don't know. It was pretty funny, but yeah, I think they're really nailing the kid dynamic. Really, I think they're nailing everything in this show. Again, this is a small scale show, right? Like nothing really grand or at least as of yet, nothing really grand is happening in it, but I kind of like that. I think that's what Star Wars needs, and I'm gonna pull because I'm gonna throw myself back on the main screen because I'm done showing images. But to kind of close out, I think that's kind of what Star Wars needs is like, I think we need to be done with the Skywalker saga. George Lucas told that, and then if you love the sequel trilogy, they told that story to kind of close it off. And whether you love or hate the sequel trilogy, that it closed off that. Like, I think that needs to be done. We need to put that away. If you want to tell some stories, like I said, doing some Clone Wars stuff, not everything has, like, you can still do stuff within that time that doesn't revolve around the Skywalkers and stuff like that, and I think that's fine. But there's so much in Star Wars. We got the Dawn of the Jedi, the Hyperspace War. We got the Jedi with the proton packs, the Sith imbued sabers where they're like literally channeling like their force essence and energy into their swords. We got Mandalorian culture, which goes back for centuries. Mandalore the Ultimate, Old Republic. And then you could also go like, take me like 100 years after the Rise of Skywalker, or 200 or 300 years. What does the galaxy look like then? There's so many characters and things that they can do. And I think that this show needs to be the blueprint kind of for that. Not in the way that they're like necessarily telling the story, just maybe it is the way that they're telling it, just like how they're unfolding it. It's very digestible, and there's like we were talking about it in the group chat today. There's not a lot of like hate around this show, and it's because I think they're actually doing it in a good. There's no thing to base the hatred off of. A lot of the stuff with the Acolyte, they pulled stuff from like the Plagueis book, and we saw like Kiadi Mundi, and there was, the Acolyte just wasn't a good show in general, but like they were pulling stuff from the universe for the haters to kind of like latch onto. And I wouldn't even say it's haters, because like I think that some of the people are right, some people are extreme, and some of the things that they say with the show, but I don't know. I think there's still ways to do a lot of stuff outside of the Skywalker saga, and I think this is a good example of how to do that. Is what I'm trying to, I guess, get my point across. But yeah. Hey, JT popping in. Charlie, what happened to Alderaan? I just saw that. Finishing up a movie with the mother figure, just bumping in to say hi, and I'll rewatch this after. Hey, man, appreciate you popping in, saying hello there. But yeah, I think that's my take on everything thus far. Like I said, a little bit of a shorter episode this week, not a whole bunch to digest, but let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below on on the, if you're rewatching this, or Charlie, Sarah, Stanley's. I'd love to hear your guys'. I know some of your guys' thoughts as we talk outside of the channel. But yeah, thank you guys for watching and hanging out with me. We got a lot of cool stuff down the pipeline. I'm being pretty quiet right now on the channel. Just did a few unboxing videos, but once we I'm during Christmas rush right now. For a lot of people who don't know that I run a 3D printing business, so Christmas rush has been kind of crazy. Haven't really been able to post a lot and edit a lot of videos, but got a lot of really cool stuff planned. Excited for the new year. Got a lot of stuff kind of cooking. So yeah, it's gonna be cool. We got Christmas just right around the corner and all that fun stuff. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and as always, may the force be with you. Peace out, guys. Bye. Oh, I clicked the wrong button. How do I quit it? How do I quit the live? I don't know.